Hello and welcome to another edition of the Dugout. We are just a sleep away from the India versus New Zealand Champions Trophy clash, which is also going to be the last group game of this 8-team tournament here. Well, obviously, it's going to be a dead rubber because both India and New Zealand have qualified for the semis, and so is the case with Group B, as both South Africa and Australia have sealed the remaining two places in the final four. But then, given the history between the two teams here, India and New Zealand will play tomorrow in Dubai and end the group stage League of the Champions Trophy here. Well, there's going to be a mouth-watering clash. And to discuss more on this, I have with me Siddharth Vishwanathan, Harshit Ahuja, and obviously we're joined by nikhilnaz from Dubai. Nikhil, first things first, how are you? How are things?
Good, yeah. I'm just struggling with my. Yeah, now this is better. Now I think you can see me better.
Yeah,
Things are good, yeah. Very windy and cold in Dubai. I thought people are telling me Lahore is cold, but I didn't require a jacket there. But Dubai is colder, and I'm having to wear a jacket. So yeah, that's how Dubai is at the moment. But we are getting ready for the India-New Zealand game. India, of course, practiced yesterday. We saw that practice, did a report up on Sports Day, and New Zealand no practice. So yeah, sights and sounds of Dubai. If you want to see the skyline, looks beautiful, isn't it?
Of course it does. No pollution.
Yeah, no pollution. Yes. By the way, I have to tell you, my trip to Lahore, where I've done various short form, long form content. Many are asking me how's Lahore. It kind of reminds me of Delhi, but different parts of India, like a bit, somewhere reminds me of Chandigarh, somewhere reminds me of Faridabad, somewhere Delhi. It's a mix. So the one thing which is similar between Delhi and Lahore, two things in fact. One is the traffic is the same. So get stuck in traffic just as you get stuck in Delhi, same thing. And secondly, the smog, the pollution is also the same. So you don't miss that either. So, yeah, those are the two things.
I'm guessing, Nikhil, the civic sense also would be much the same.
Would you believe that? Yes, of course. Anywhere in the world, the worst drivers, you know how in India we just cut across lanes and drive like crazily. That tends to happen. Pakistan is also like that. Bangladesh is also like that. Really bad traffic sense, and they drive just like that. If I was to say in traffic sense, Pakistan was marginally better. Like I'll tell you how marginally better. At least there, when they change the lane, at least वो indicator देते हैं, like lane. But in India, it's like changing lane is like zigzag. So rest of the thing is the same. Wherever you get a space, they'll put the car just as we do in India. Jump traffic lights as we do in India. All of that is the same.
In India, it's like the Chak De India movement, no?
What is different in Lahore is that at least in the chaining lane, let's say, and one more thing was different. They at least follow the fast lane and the slow lane, right? Like the extreme right lane is going to be slow and then fast, and the one that inside lane will be the fastest lane. So at least that they were following on the highway, slightly better, but it's a very close call, marginal. They are as bad as we are in India.
See, in India, you have the Chak De India thing, na, when you have traffic. Guys on the right lane, he should be turning, but no, his indicator is towards the left. Hey Ram, ये तो सीधा जा रहा है. That's how it is. That is the thing in India. Also in Punjabi, na, we say this thing, छोटा जिया फर्क है, और होंदा ते मोटा ही है.
छोटा नहीं, माड़ा जा फर्क है.
निक्का,
माड़ा जा. That's the right word. Chota is Hindi actually, not Punjabi.
Yeah.
So माड़ा जा, yeah. Nikka is small, but in this slight is the right word, and slight translation is Maharaja.
Yep. So it's like building up 25 years later, India versus New Zealand. I mean, the last time they played was at the start of the 21st century. You were still in school, I guess. We all had still in college at that point in time.
I was about 7 years old.
7 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. 25 years later, you're seeing an India versus New Zealand encounter. Whereas you've seen an India-Pakistan encounter the most in the Champions Trophy with 6. From 2004, then you had in 2009, you had in 13, 17, now in 2025. Imagine, that is the frequency with which you're playing them. But is India now going to face one of the toughest opponents?
So now we know one thing, and this becomes interesting as we set up that match for tomorrow. Because in all likelihood now South Africa are finishing B1.
B1.
Australia are B2.
So it's provided India win.
So if India win, now what do India want to do over here? Now both teams have the option. Of course, they'll be going 100%.
Yeah.
But here, just if you want to pick your opponent, you can. But no team will underperform. We know that.
I know.
But you can. I'm just saying there is one team you'd want to pick between the two. We heard from Sunny G as well. He's said, okay, the one team between these two that India could be wanting to play. But now things are set up in a manner where both teams can, in a way, approach the match, keeping an eye on the opponent that they would want to face.
Well, I think India are well equipped to deal with any opponent when you look at it, because they have been playing in Dubai. I mean,
But if you have to pick one,
I think Australia.
because of their weak bowling attack.
Because of the weak bowling attack, plus they'll have to adjust to Dubai conditions. And I think this is your best chance. You have to beat Australia in the semi-final. If you meet them in the final, then you all know where that...
Okay, are we looking... Nikhil, let's come to you as well. If India are looking at Australia, would they rather play them in the semi-final, or because of what happened on the wretched day of the 19th of November 2023, would they not want to play them in the final?
See, I know everyone has said that. Mr. Gavaskar himself has said that between the two teams would rather play Australia than South Africa, because there's a better chance of India beating Australia than South Africa. And I understand why, because on form, South Africa is clearly looking like the best team in their group. So I agree. They've been in form in general. They have the wherewithal to do well. Also, they were the finalists in the T20 World Cup. Could have very well beaten India if they hadn't panicked at the end. So it's a good team, I agree. But if you ask my personal opinion, I'd still rather play South Africa than Australia, simply because they bring the big match temperament. Yes, I know that the bowling is, lackluster after so many pullouts. But I still feel Australia, big match temperament. And at the end of the day, as you know, it requires one or two players to step up for a game to change it. And it happens with every team. I'm not just saying for Australia. Now, white ball cricket is such, whether T20 or ODI, one or two good performances and the game turns around. So that's where you have heroes. And you expect one player to get up. But truth be told, and I'll be honest, I think whoever comes between Australia and South Africa, the truth is that India is a better team, especially in these conditions. Right now, it does look like they've ticked all the boxes. So it doesn't matter which team comes, whether South Africa, whether Australia, I think India will still be the better team. Also have the advantage of having played in Dubai, and they'll also have the advantage of being better prepared, one, in Dubai and also staying here. I think that is very unfair, though I did not agree with the fact of former players talking earlier, saying that, this is unfair. India are only in Dubai. Other teams are traveling in the tournament. I didn't agree with that so much, simply because, it does tend to happen. Like in the 2023 World Cup, India were traveling everywhere, because they were the host country. Some countries played a couple of matches in one venue, 3. Pakistan played more matches in one place. But look at what Pakistan did. They didn't make the semis. India traveled left, right, everywhere. 10 matches, 10 different places, So they were traveling crisscross across the country, yet they were the best team of the tournament, or one of the two best teams of the tournament reached the final. So I think this is an excuse. Also remember 2024 T20 World Cup, India won. They were also traveling crazily, and I was traveling with them. But the better team will always win. This travel, staying in Dubai, not staying in Dubai, I think, frankly, it's just excuse making. And I think that those excuses mostly come from England. No wonder England is where they are at the moment in the tournament, because in India they said they were not looking to win and they were just preparing for Champions Trophy. Here they're saying India is traveling. So, and I think it's this moaning, whining attitude, which has cost them their places in the top 4 in both the 2023 ODI World Cup here as well. So that's aside. But I will say one thing. I think this is slightly unfair that both teams have to travel here, as we've been reporting from Dubai. Both Australia and South Africa. Australia will arrive in Dubai today, and South Africa will arrive tomorrow, while India's match is against New Zealand. And both will have to wait to find out which team plays India. And then one team will go back to play their semi-final on a Wednesday in Dubai. I think that's a bit unfair. I think that because, see, one team not traveling, other traveling, that...
The one thing, since
team will win.
you talk about that, Nikhil...
You've come here and to go back, I think, is rather unfair for either one of the teams, and especially for the team that will have to go back. Okay, the one that comes here, plays India, fine. If you just come, you're here in Dubai, you enjoy the sights and sound, have a meal, maybe one meal at best. If it happens to be South Africa, you head back. A bit unfair.
On that, I want to know, was this something that the ICC decided and the two teams in Group B were just told that this is what they have to follow? Or were the teams also okay with the whole idea in the first place?
What can the teams do, Harshit? They've been told this. This wasn't decided pre-tournament because probably you would have thought that maybe you knew who won to what the semi-finals are. So you thought it is something that will take care of itself. But now you've reached a situation where you don't know, where India-New Zealand match will decide which team plays. So, I mean, this could have easily been fixed. Two things you could have done, two simple solutions. India could have had their game on Saturday today. And the game that is happening right now, South Africa, England, could have been on a Sunday, na? That would have been easy. That was just one simple thing. But then I understand India bring in the big bucks, so broadcasters want Sunday game has to be India game. So that's why you did that. The second solution could have been maybe India could have played the second semi-final on a Wednesday. Tuesday could have been the first semi-final. That would have then allowed that travel time. No, I think you could have done this. Two simple fixes there were to fix this solution. I agree that no point making excuses about India playing in Dubai. This was decided in advance. Everyone knows the situation, and hybrid tournaments have happened before also. Sometimes tournaments are held. One World Cup is held by 3 countries. No, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan also held. So you travel. That's fine. I don't think there's an issue. But when you knew that India is hybrid, they're going to be there. You'll only get to know at the last moment who plays India. Two simple things you could have done. If you and I can think of those two simple solutions, you could have. Then, now you're going to blame Pakistan for not really preparing well for the Champions Trophy with the way they did those things that they did in terms of, and I agree, those weren't great scenes in, no super stopper and all that. They deserve that criticism. I agree. But then I think the criticism also needs to go towards the organizers, ICC, where one little thing you couldn't have fixed. India play either on Saturday. You can't do that semi-final on Wednesday rather than Tuesday. I don't know why nobody thought of it. And last moment now both teams have been told that you have to travel.
I mean, ICC is always in that sense a very shambolic thing because, see, 2024, when you look at it, months in advance, wherever India plays, they'll play in Guyana. With all these special reservations that were there. For what reason? Broadcaster and crowd. Broadcaster, as I say, even in this also, but why on earth can't they have quick fixes for this? Is there too much cloud in their judgment? Are their judgments getting clouded every single time because of broadcaster pressure? We will really don't know. Because second, immediately you have a semi-final on the 4th. 1 day gap just doesn't make sense. Could have been on 5th, 6th. There is a 3-day gap between the second semi-final and the final. Okay, for logistics you want to do this. That okay, if India qualifies and Lahore will not host it.
I think the problem over there also was you had reserve days in mind and all as well.
Yeah.
So that also would have been a bit of a problem if you tried, I think, pushing things by 1 more day. I was also thinking about it, and maybe and maybe if you tried swapping the days as well, as was being said, that if India had played today, besides the commercial aspect of it, yes, for India, yes, it suits because India have had a good 5-day, 6-day break anyway. But I think somewhere in all of this, you would, it's like, this or that way, you were going to get things done in an improper manner, which is the thing now. Because then what you would have had to do is you would have had to switch the matches as well. The semi-finals would also then have to be switched to ensure that both teams get ample time to be ready, because it can't be that Sunday you have the two teams crystallize on Sunday. You know which team plays over at which venue, and then you ask them to travel on Monday and play the match on Tuesday. Exactly. That would have been the problem then.
So all these classifications are virtually non-existent then because of what has happened. Because if it's A2, if India end up with A2, what has done is the preceding is gone. There is nothing.
There is no preceding. There is no, because what is it that cannot be moved? The unshakable fact is that India will not move out of Dubai.
And they'll play their
so A1, A2 is immaterial.
Yeah, it's
that
immaterial.
That way A1, A2 is immaterial. Why it is just there for just, it has nominal value is because you want to know which opponent you will play. Yeah. So whatever seeding that we were given on the schedule came out, A1, A2, whatever plays here, A2 definitely will be playing in Dubai. None of that really matters, because regardless of A1, A2, wherever India are, they should written India. Simple.
That's the thing. That is the thing. There is blatant, if you want to look at, okay, whatever is at the hybrid model and all those kind of things, sure. This situation was waiting to happen because of your tensions with Pakistan. So they wouldn't budge
And
on
this
that.
will happen all over again.
This will happen.
This will happen.
2026 T20 World Cup.
No, this will happen in the month of September.
Asia Cup.
Asia Cup.
Yes.
No, but Asia Cup is going
Which
to
are
be held at a
neutral venue anyway.
UAE, yeah.
Yeah, but 2026 this will happen.
But
Yeah.
again, that won't be the problem
But
that
India,
much.
because India and Pakistan, if they play in the group stage, which more than likely they will,
It'll
they
be in
play
Colombo.
Sri Lanka.
It'll be in Colombo.
Yeah.
So that's why it
So,
won't happen in India.
Nikhil, quick question. Like on both Australia and South Africa, like one of the things we have established is that whoever India faces in the final four, I think India would definitely hold the advantage over Australia or South Africa.
Yeah.
But what do
Yeah.
you think is that one thing that India will have to take care of as far as both the potential oppositions are concerned, Australia or South Africa? India may be ahead of them, if we do a proper comparison. But what's that one thing where you feel both Australia and South Africa are probably ahead of this Indian ODI side?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't see any particular area as such where I don't see any area as such where there is going to be an issue for India. I don't see any department. I think batting these conditions, India are going to be superior. The only two areas that I'm going to separate the teams. In South Africa, I think the only area could be if their batters go berserk, because they do have that kind of a batting lineup, an explosive batting lineup, and they put up a total which can be tricky then. If you get a good pitch like the India-Pakistan game and you put up a total like that, and they get you a tricky total batting first, 280 plus, then that can be tricky. That's the only situation. So, which will then mean that the Indian bowlers have to underperform. I don't see that happening. For Australia as well, their explosive batting, if they put up that total, I don't think the Australian bowling lineup really has it in them to bring the Indian batting down. South Africa on that end has both things in terms of bowling as well as batting. So, only scenario I see both teams doing well. They put up a more than competitive total, and on that day, India failed to get to above par total. But if it's par total, below par total, I don't see Indian team falling there. So not too much to worry about. I mean, I'm not going to look at individual failures or successes, because there will be days for India where one player comes good or the other player comes good. Someone fails, someone else doesn't fail. But overall, I see India does have that strength, that bench strength to cover up for their flaws, as they've been doing in this tournament. That's been their mantra for success. Somebody or the other puts their hand up and does well. So on all fronts, man to man, mano a mano, if you take a look at it, I think India got the wood over both South Africa and Australia.
Man to man Spanish.
Okay.
Mano a mano in Spanish means man to man. So that's Harshit was flummoxed by that particular thing. Like, why is it mano a mano? It's
I thought it was again one of the Hindi phrases.
no.
that is
Mano. I mean, you have heard it in a lot of Hollywood films. Mano a mano.
Mano yana mano. Mano
Yes,
yana
yes,
mano.
yes.
And there used to be a
That is
serial like
believe it
that.
or not.
When I was young, when you guys were not even born, at that stage, there used to be a serial like that in Doordarshan.
Yes. Mano yana mano.
But something like Sachai ko jano. I think there was something with
Yeah.
respect to that.
I think it was even in
There
Sony.
was Mano
also.
yana mano. There was a Mano yana mano on Doordarshan. It was a horror series.
Horror series.
So
Yes,
it spoke about
Okay.
true stories about a haunted house or something, like stories on that. So
Yeah.
Speaking of haunted places, is Pakistan being looked at as one such place because of what we've seen
No.
in terms of infrastructure? Again, not alluding to anything else, but just purely because there was a cat interruption even today. We saw cat interruption happen last week.
Cat interruptions are the only common thing that is happening in Pakistan, apart from all the other problems. that
And
exist.
then your billions and billions, we all did those stories about billions being pumped in, and you don't even get proper drainage. Here we have 10-year-old videos of Chinnaswamy when it was being redone as to how within 10 minutes all the water would go away. Where is all that illustration? What was Mohsin Naqvi doing this whole while? And what is this embarrassment Pakistan cricket has caused to itself?
Giving PCs.
again,
Oh, see.
yeah, Nikhil.
No. I'm saying that, see, in terms of, there's no excuse for the kind of visual we saw in that game, the Australia-Pakistan game, where you had situation in which you had to use wipers and sponges. I know people will point out that it's happened in India as well. You use coal and things like that, like bhatti, what we call,
Yeah.
to dry pitches. It's happened, but I think it's It's from the past where you used to have certain things. Now I think you have super soppers mostly everywhere, and I think Pakistan need to realize that they prepared their stadium at the 11th hour and did all of that. But for a tournament like this, super soppers is going to be mandatory. Having said that, even in top countries, first world countries, I was speaking to Mr. Gavaskar. You'll see that interview up where he said that England and all also shouldn't say. There have been occasions where even they've been found wanting. So that also needs to be taken into account. But that said, I think for Pakistan, this was a litmus test where they can organize a big tournament or not. They've done other things like security and all for the visiting teams that have been there, 6 other teams that visited, and they've come out on tops on that. But if they want to hold more international tournaments going forward, they'll have to fix these issues. Other things like cat and all, I mean, that's normal in Indian grounds. We have dogs also coming over, cats coming
Chennai
over.
is a
That's
dog
fine.
capital.
And in Pakistan, it's, I mean, that's the one element or the character of Pakistan, that something like this has to happen. And that's what cricket in Pakistan is all about. Like, it's not all plain Jane, straightforward. There has to be other elements. There's humor, there's drama. It's always there. But then that's the character of the cricket that is played there. So I think that's part and parcel of the commentary that we do on Pakistan cricket. And I don't think even they mind that. That brings them a completely different character or a different face of cricket that you see across the world. Like every place, like cricket here in Sharjah would have its own elements which would be different to everyone else, and certain things that you would look here very differently. Cricket in India is very different. It gets its own culture, its own way of looking at it. And same with England, Australia. And you identify with those things. Like, you get used to flies in Australia, which are very famous. The Australian flies are very big. They don't go away. Or you have those birds that would always be on the boundaries. Some would get hit
Melbourne.
as well. So these are things that come with the geography. And that's not a major worry. But yeah, fixing the water issue is something that they have to look forward to. Because, see, that impacts the tournament, right? Majority games have gone through without results. Probably, yesterday's game, if you're Afghanistan, you could feel aggrieved that who knows, on a given day, you had all your games, or any other team for that matter. Could have been different teams in the semi-final. So that's something that Pakistan will have to look forward to. Other things I think they've done well. I went to the country and I saw, in terms of security for fans going in and all, they've managed that travel of teams, security to the teams. They've done that. So you can have international tournaments there.
In all of this, Nikhil, when we look at all of it as a package, given your experience, given what we've seen on the telly, do you think Pakistan cricket has done enough in terms of making for a good advertisement for itself? Or they've left a lot to be desired, ultimately?
No, I should, apart from this bit, I don't think there is anything else that they did which would be detrimental to their chances of getting an ICC tournament. I think just this managing the drying of the ground, I think, is that one area. Other than that, I don't think they have. And I think for them, they'll take it as a positive, like not having an international tournament for more than 2 decades to get a big tournament like that, and then to have it done successfully, apart from those minor glitches. I think they'd be happier on the whole. Of course, they'd never be happy about India not coming, and that's a situation that I don't think PCB can do anything about. I think that's there to stay, and it'll continue happening like that. But yeah, in terms of hosting Tri-Series, having more international teams come there, which had already started, maybe getting more players to come to play in PSL, I think for that, it'll be a positive, what they've done. But yeah, you can't be considered a top cricketing nation if you can't fix or not have super soppers. And that too, I mean, I can understand if it's a remote ground in Quetta or somewhere like that, that's fine. But this is one of your primary stadiums, right? So not having it for primary stadiums, then we'll have to see.
I mean, see, when you look at your last 5-6 ICC events, when you look at it, only 2 events have not been rained out. 2021 T20 World Cup, you didn't have a single match rained out because it was held in the UAE. Second, when you look at it, 2023 ODI World Cup, I don't think a single match was washed out totally. I don't think 2023 ODI World Cup you saw a single game getting washed out. There was a rain interruption that was there in the Australia-Sri Lanka encounter, but that game didn't get washed out.
There was a lot of rain interruption in that South Africa-Netherlands match which took
place in Dharamshala. But then you at least finished the game.
Yeah.
You finished the game there, so it was a rain truncated, but never a total washout. You look at 13, you look at 17, both the editions in the Champions Trophy, you saw so many
Multiple
washouts.
2019 for that matter.
2019.
The one match we all hope was washed out, but wasn't to be.
It wasn't meant to be.
Went to the
Two-day
reserve
ODI,
day.
another farce that happened. So, looking at it, see, Pakistan can... There isn't any positives about Pakistan when you look at it. Because, see, the one major thing that Nikhil said, what was it? Sorting out your tensions with India. If India doesn't go to any particular ICC event in that country cannot get fans.
Yeah.
As simple as it can be. Pakistan...
I think you can, but for that you need to play good cricket.
No,
What-
in the case
what-
of Pakistan, this caveat is there.
No, I think if you play good cricket, people will be drawn. See, there will be a level of that there will be a level of acceptance that India are not going to come here. I think that is now common knowledge. Even the cricket fan in the country, in Pakistan, knows that.
No, is it acceptance or is it forced acceptance?
No,
There's a difference.
it is just common acceptance. You as a civilian can't do anything about it. Simple as that. You can go score a 100 no matter where. You can go file whatever petition you want. This is not happening. It is not for the common man to worry about. We as Indians, we've accepted, right, that Pakistan are not stepping, on Indian turf for a bilateral series, right? It's not going to happen. And how often will India also be hosting ICC events? Probably thrice spread across an entire decade, or about 8 years time, 9 years time. That's it.
See, you're hosting only 2 in the next 6 years.
Exactly my point. So there is a level of acceptance that we also have, and I'm sure the same acceptance exists over there as well. Now, how you draw crowds to the stadium is by playing good cricket, and if that's not happening, people are not going to turn up.
See, look at all the matches that have happened in the Champions Trophy. Okay?
Because an Australian team will always draw crowds. Yes, India may have been arguably the better team, or throughout the tournament, the best team eventually won in the 2023 World Cup, but you will look at it this way, like that. Yes, of course, there's going to be that thing for Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma that people in Pakistan would want to come see. But a Mitch Marsh who can be an absolute match winner, a Travis Head who can be an absolute match winner, there can be a Stark, a Hazelwood, a Cummins, and they're reigning champions. You think the crowd over there would not want to see such big players?
See, this kind of situation reminds me of 2 things. One, what Ashwin has said in his YouTube channel today. One, we have done that
Ash
video
Ki Baat.
also. Ash Ki Baat. We have done that video also. You can check it out on Sports Today. But second, do ODIs have a future? Because see, the same big 3, only India, Australia and England get to play majority of the games in test matches when you look at it.
And if you talk about a team that has done consistently well in the ODI format, that doesn't really get to play with most of the bigger teams, and I'm talking about Afghanistan.
Look, England and South Africa are not minnows. Let's make one thing clear. They're also good teams, right? Okay. But look at the crowd in Karachi. Because they are not part of that Fab 3, if you look at it, England are also playing terribly. That's why not much of a crowd has come. Okay, it's a dead rubber, fine. But even in dead rubbers in India, you saw a significant amount of crowd just to see the cricket. Number 1.
Siddharth, see, opener as well, we all remember Ahmedabad, the stadium was only half filled.
Of course, but again, the problem...
Less than that.
Half filled, how much? If you're talking about 110,000...
So I'm actually going down to 25,000.
25.
I'm saying half of half also was there.
That is the capacity of Lahore. 35,000, 35, 40,000.
40,000, yeah.
But because the Ahmedabad stadium is so huge, even 40, 50,000 looks like it's empty.
Exactly.
So that is why, see, ODIs are not anybody's forte at this point, and hosting the ICC Champions Trophy in Pakistan has given one clear indication that ODIs perhaps aren't the future. Aren't the future anymore. You have to question certain things. You see, this is just meandering along. It's now over, number 20 is done. At this point in time, this generation so used, 20 overs is up, second innings is going to happen. Now, wait a minute. There is 21 to 30 also, there's 31 to 40 also. Ye kaun sa format hai bhai? It's not like a test match. It's not even like a T20. What is it? ODIs came up as a reaction to tests. T20Is came up because there was some problem with one particular format, and I don't think it was test cricket.
Yeah.
It was more like ODI cricket. What do you do with it? ODI cricket is a good format for broadcasters because you get maximum ad slots. It covers all the prime time slots also. T20Is, it's so condensed, you don't know what is the basic formula. Like, how will I fit all my ads in? Commercial value. That's why ODIs is a far better thing for advertisers. People are saying WTC, we'll have to revamp. Ask India, Australia and England to take that lead. They are the ones playing a fighter series. When was the last time when South Africa played a fighter series? Way back in 1998.
I can't even remember South Africa playing a 4-test series that often. They do play against
2000
England at
yeah.
home.
Yeah, and 17 also.
No, they've played against England, multiple times at home. I can't even remember more than that. They've played a 4-match series against Australia also at home. I think that was probably Mone Mockel's last test series.
Yes, 2018.
Sandpaper
Gate, 18.
Yeah.
Can't
When
even
was the
remember
last
more than
time a
that.
New Zealand played a fighter series? 4-test series.
This time they're going to play against Australia.
4 tests. So that is why, see, ODIs, the litmus test has failed in this Champions Trophy. It's not drawn out crowds. Even in the India game, India-Bangladesh, hardly any crowd.
Yeah.
Hardly.
And you
India-Pakistan
can
filled up later.
And you can probably
Yeah,
expect
but
the
even
same
then it
tomorrow.
wasn't packed to the rafters. There were seats left in India, Pakistan also.
Yes. And if an India-Pakistan cannot result in crowds clamoring to get tickets, I don't know what will.
Something wrong, seriously wrong.
India-Australia, they're going to play the semi-final most likely if the current situation remains. If India beat New Zealand, it is India-Australia on March 4th. Okay? And it's going to be New Zealand-South Africa on March 5th. On the other hand, if that doesn't draw up crowds, India-Australia, especially ODI, in a neutral country, you're in trouble, boss. This format is in serious trouble at this point. So that's why, yes, you can blame Pakistan. Your politics ensured that, yes, you left the main draw card out. It was your political tensions that ensured India can't go.
I think where Pakistan are right now in terms of what we've seen from them as a host,
Yep.
it is the politics that has left, that has let them down. Because why was everything 11th hour?
Yes.
Everything was 11th hour because they started late. There was so much of political turbulence in this whole time. You had these rights with you for a few years now.
Yeah.
Now what happened last year? You had a change of regime. You had a change of board president. How many presidents were we counting the other day?
4 in 3
4
years.
in the last 4 years. I
4
think
years,
it's 22 if we are to count.
Yeah.
You've seen 4 presidents change. And with every changing regime, you say, there's a new vision, there's a new leader. Everyone wants to undo what the previous regime had done. And this is exactly what we saw this time around as well.
And
now, as a result, what happened? You had multiple visits. You had ICC set deadlines for you and all, and multiple recce's had to be done. Multiple visits had to happen. We all saw how Pakistan was scrambling to get things ready. Yes, they've done a decent job in terms of ensuring, yes, that the basic amenities are covered. But see, drainage, which is a very important part of modern cricket. They miss that. It requires a lot of funding. This also raises question whether Pakistan cricket can afford these amenities or not. And if they can't, then they must maybe then come forward and admit that. Because you publicly went ahead and made these big statements about such kind of money being splurged and this will be there, these many boxes, these floodlights, these LEDs, this and that. But what about the drainage system? We know it requires a lot of money as well.
see, actually, there is one nation that has shown that you don't need that much of money, yet you can have pitches covered and ensure that you can start on time. Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. You have the full ground covered.
Full ground covered.
Only country in
Common
fact,
sense. It
only
doesn't need
country.
money for common sense. Every other nation, when you look at it, has failed in the drainage aspect. When you look at England, are a colossal failure. Okay, they are the last nation on this planet to lecture.
Some of the
everybody
venues
else.
in Australia, because now they've become multi-sport venues, they have relatively very good. See, the Optus
Brisbane has
very
always
new.
had.
Yeah, Optus very new. Brisbane, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Then MCG again very good.
Sydney is also decent-ish, I would look
Yeah.
at it. So that's why Australia are okay-ish, but still they also are in no position. There also matches have gotten over because of some dodgy covering of the outfield and everything in that sense. England, failure. West Indies, failure. South Africa also, their drainage facility is also okay. But if it rains continuously, Centurion has got great facilities.
Yeah, it has.
Johannesburg has got good facilities. Pakistan, woeful. Bangladesh, woeful. Only Sri Lanka. That too after years and years of failure.
I think in terms of timing also, I'll quote 2 instances here. it wasn't really the best of the moves to have matches in Rawalpindi. I think I've quoted this thing before also. Last year I was doing a commentary for a different platform. It was for the PSL. Same time, same venue, Pindi. 2 matches, they were rained off. Same time of the year. It made no sense to, even have matches there. Both the matches here this time in Pindi, they were washed out. And if you
Except
talk about,
one.
Yeah, except one. And overall, if we talk about, the case of wrong timing of scheduling those matches, I think the only last instance maybe, that I can remember when all of this happened, I think that was way back in 2012 or 2013. I think 2015, 2016. It was New Zealand touring South Africa during July, August.
Yes. When Durban got rained out.
Exactly. Both the matches, I think, pretty much were. I think South Africa won that series 1-1.
1-0. Centurion, I think you won. Durban, half an hour of rain. Outfield couldn't be played for 5 days.
Exactly.
Same with Trinidad.
So you need to. So see, the thing is, you can't make these changes every now and then. It requires a significant investment. Let's be honest about that. It's not like So the fault is there for everyone to see, and it holds true for so many of the Indian stadiums as well. Look at the erstwhile Feroz Shah Kotla or the present Arun Jaitley. No, it's lagging behind in terms of infrastructure on so many counts. Now, if you can't do that, be more pragmatic. Have enough ground staff then. Do what Sri Lanka does.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson for everyone.
Which is what Kolkata's done.
Yes, you cover the entire thing. Have ample groundsmen. They want ample groundsmen is what I noticed yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Have enough groundsmen. I remember this, the time that India had visited the West Indies. When India had visited the West Indies in 23, 2 test matches that we played over there. And I remember there
24, yeah. 23, 24.
23. And I remember there was this time where the groundsmen were already in expectation of a passing shower. How did they get
Trinidad,
to know?
yeah.
How did they get to know about it? Because they saw birds hovering. And when do birds start to hover? When they are expecting the clouds to come over and sort of, envelop the whole place.
Yep.
Now, you need that kind of, ground staff as well to be making those kind of observations and to be that alert, basically. And then be, quick in terms of your response, because all you need is a little bit of a delay, a couple of minutes here and there, as we saw in Pakistan, and the situation goes out of hand. So maybe you then need you firstly need to be alert, and then you need ample groundsmen to be able to then cover off the entire thing.
See, alert, it's all human instinct, and human instinct can sometimes fail. Even the greatest of groundsmen in Sri Lanka couldn't anticipate the sudden downpour that happened at the Premadasa. Remember? Yes. India or Pakistan. See, at this point in time, Pakistan didn't follow the basics. Number one, the stadium upgradation was only cosmetic. What happened is...
Not from the ground up.
Yeah, they just applied a layer of paint. But apart from that, the original thing, the plastering and all of that to cover up the cracks, nothing happened.
It was cosmetic.
Correct.
It was cosmetic. The stadiums couldn't withstand rain, and Lahore, it didn't pour for 4-5 hours like had happened in Pindi. So Pindi, benefit of doubt, yes, it rained for 5-6 hours continuously. No ground could have escaped it. So benefit of doubt for Rawalpindi. But Lahore, 20 minutes of rain. And you saw puddles. People were just enjoying on the outfield as if it was a water park. It was that bad in Lahore. And remember, one of the semi-finals is going to be held in Lahore. God forbid if there is any rain. And the outfield is damaged. There is a reserve day, but reserve day also another washout. Then boss, you are heading into England territory, where every day there was a rain threat in 2013 and in 2017. And poof, luckily you got through. That's how it is. So that's why, in all counts...
And the pitch changed drastically in the final.
Hospitality, say, dil jeet liya, that you always do. But hospitality alone doesn't ensure that teams come back. It's an ICC event. You need proper facilities. You need stadium upgradations. Pakistan, I don't know now next what's the future for them, honestly.
Yeah.
And if your team doesn't do well, and now, Harshit, on your point, Mohsin Naqvi might actually be sacked. Another regime change.
I know that's already being said.
Beat that, Pakistan. I don't know why the ICC, who's so hell-bent on the fact that government interference shouldn't be there. Pakistan, there is open government interference. The president appoints the PCB chief. Why hasn't ICC managed to ensure that Pakistan be suspended like how you did to Nepal and Zimbabwe?
Yeah,
Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sri Lanka was suspended for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you'll only go after the small fish. That's the problem.
Was has a comment.
Let's take
get
a
to
comments,
the comment
yeah.
section now. That South Africa's bowling is far more lethal, even batting too.
But that has been the case all the time with
But-
South Africa, and they've never prospered.
And I think in the semi-final, South Africa will probably miss the services of Aiden Markram.
Yes, he had a hamstring injury. Henrik Klaasen's been captaining them, so that's why it will be a big blow if that is
I think
happening.
more than likely, if that happens, Temba Bavuma, I think, gets slotted up the order once again, but Tristan
Yeah.
Stubbs batting in the middle order.
Yeah, but Stubbs, I don't know. I think he's been hyped up far too. He's been failing far more in the ODI format when you look at it.
Yeah, I think Test and T20Is he has done well, but not in ODIs for now.
That is what Sarat Chandra is saying. Is Rohit fit for NZ game? What's your little body telling you? And why are reports stating Varun to
Rohit's
play?
now fit. We heard from KL Rahul.
There
He's
is no
already
little birdie. It is KL Rahul who's
KL
confirmed. Yeah. Why are reports stating Varun to play? Will India play only 7 batters? I think Washi comes in and Narsh to no for everything. Because if you change your playing 11 now, you're only throwing
Also,
chaos.
it was again the so-called little body in KL Rahul.
It was KL Rahul.
Yes, he said it that, yes, at times the temptation when you get such a break is that you give some of the players who are on the bench some playing time. But I don't think, and this is him saying in his capacity as a player, even though what we extrapolate from it is, so let me first complete what he said. He said that even though that's the natural temptation, but I don't think that is how we're thinking right now about it. I don't think it'll be the case. This is what he said. But he also went on to complete that sentence by saying, but that's totally what I feel. What we now make of that is also because we've seen how the Indian team approaches certain situations when it comes to ICC competitions. You're not in 2021, then it would have been a different thing altogether. But maybe you've learnt your lesson from there, and it doesn't look like you will be making any change.
Absolutely.
And I think we can go back to the Ryan Ten Descartes comment also that India might not make any changes. That's what he said. But then there could be curtailed spells for all the bowlers.
Yep, you have the interruption. I mean, you have all the kind of depth that you want. Well, don't want to bowl out certain bowlers, don't bowl out. And yes, the only thing that they say is cat interruption is good. Pakistan and Karachi, cats. That is the only. I think that cat interruptions been only in one venue, not in all the venues, if I'm not wrong. And is it the same cat every game?
That's a good question, actually.
The toughest question. How will we know if it's the same cat? I'm not at Karachi, I'm not at the venue, so I don't know. But Sachin Kashyap, rats in Manchester United Stadium.
Yeah, there was an infestation of rats as well. Horrible.
What's happening here?
Horrible.
Was snake interruption Colombo? Yes. Snakes are common.
There were snakes the other day. There was a snake at one of the Champions Trophy matches also. Yeah. You can't recall which match it was. KP, I think, was on commentary, so was Ramiz that
It's
time.
become a zoological.
I think it was day before.
I don't know. It's becoming a zoological farce in Pakistan, whatever when you look at it. So yes. And Rohit khel raha hai kya, Priyanshu? Yes. Rohit is playing. There's only 1 day gap. You would not want to rest any of your, unless
Exactly.
again the Indian team will
Also, what KL said.
Indian team will make a change if there is an injury only.
First
Serious injury.
First
That's the thing. So, yep. That's about it. So, yes, tomorrow is the last league game of the Champions Trophy. We know our 4 semi-finalists, but in what order will they be playing? That is the major thing. So, looking at it,
In about half an hour, 40 minutes from now, though, we will get to know the seeding for the second group. B1, B2
there
will
is
be
no seeding. Because it's all gone up. Because A1, B2, A2, B1 in an ideal
But yeah,
world.
for all practical purposes, now and on this, there's no saving England
Yeah.
from further embarrassment.
Because-
South Africa finish as group toppers from B group, and
Australia,
Australia who get the second spot.
Second spot.
So B1, B2 also all done and
Yes,
dusted.
yes.
Expect us to return
Even
when
if South Africa lose from here, they'll still No, they won't finish.
They won't finish.
Yeah,
Then,
Australia are 4.
But I think the margin, I think will ensure that their net run rate then.
They'll
4.
still be second. No?
4,
4
4.
points. Yeah,
net
4
run rate
points.
Won't matter.
na.
They'll be in 3.
Yeah.
They'll finish with 3. Australia will be 4.
Yeah.
So that's why.
So now we shall be coming back in just about 40-45 minutes time.
Even less, maybe.
Yeah,
Even
maybe
less,
less
yeah.
as well, depending on how quick South Africa want to make things over there
Yes.
in Pakistan. But
Yep.
yeah, for now we shall take your leave. A1, A2, the question mark will remain for another 24 hours or so. and it'll only be after the India-New Zealand match that we get to know which team is it. They'll have to do the hard travelling for the other group, and New Zealand, they will have to go to Lahore.
Yes. So only one game left in Pakistan, potentially.
Yeah, second semi-final.
Second semi-final. Because if India make it to the final, it's not happening in Lahore, it's happening in Dubai, the final. So yes, Champions Trophy, last league game coming up tomorrow, and we'll be back for the South Africa-England post-match. So join us then. Until then, from me, Harshid and Sid Gulati, it is bye-bye. Not yet. Nandri Vanakkam Shubhratri. That we'll do it later. So bye-bye, folks.
Nandri is to follow.
Yep. Subscribe to Sports Today.